Fresno about to burn after what rabid herd of Muslims just did at everyone's doors overnight. While the nation has been focused on Minnesota this past week, after a white woman was shot and killed by a Somali Muslim police officer for no apparent reason, Islam reared its really ugly head in another part of the country. Those who don't believe that Muslims have infiltrated the U.S. in masses to try to make America like the Middle East, obviously haven't seen what's become of Fresno, California. Residents in this central California city woke up to absolute horror with what Syrian refugees did overnight that hasn't been seen in any other place in the nation until now. This is a sign of just how bad the refugee crisis has gotten, and it's time for Americans to reclaim our country. Sadly, it may already be too late for those in what could now be called Frenistan. When you think of places throughout the U.S. that have suffered under the deluge of Muslim refugees dumped here as part of Barack Obama's sick plan, Fresno isn't the first place or even on your radar. This thriving metropolis didn't ask to take in droves of refugees but ended up with them anyway, since they made their way there on their own from where they were dropped. They also brought with them some pretty horrific parties and plans for this place, which hasn't gone over well with the locals. Citizens of this once great city are probably about to start a civil war if something isn't done about what's happened to their hometown that could kill them. The problems in Fresno first presented themselves in April of this year when a Muslim murderer went on a killing spree, taking the lives of 3 innocent people while shouting Allahu Akbar. At the time, and perhaps still to this day, authorities were reluctant to call this crime what it is, an act of terrorism. Denying that reality has led to the inevitable, which is a worsening of the problem that will soon become a total takeover if action to stop it isn't taken. While Fresno residents were enjoying their summer evening and barbecues, Syrian refugees down the street were caught in something sick in their backyard. The New York Times reports. The police responded to a call about a loud party on East San Ramon Avenue, but it wasn't just any party. A sheep was reportedly being slaughtered in a backyard. Muslim refugees were unaware that slaughtering sheep is not allowed in the city, the police wrote afterward in their report, which also stated that those involved were advised to clean up the blood and mess and warned that in the future they could be cited. The animal, actually a goat, was killed by a Syrian refugee who later skinned, roasted and shared it with his Syrian neighbors in the apartment complex where they all live. Keep in mind that this happened in an apartment complex where neighbors all around them were forced to endure this horror through shared, paper-thin walls. This may be fun and games in the Middle East, but when they came to America they brought the practice with them that has no place here. This is the problem with inviting third-world citizens into an established nation when they have no intentions of assimilating, abiding by our laws and leaving their horrific customs like this one in the hellhole they escaped from. What makes this overwhelming infiltration issue worse in Fresno, as compared to other places in the nation, is that the city wasn't prepared for refugees since they weren't planning on taking them. Refugees were drawn to this particular area of California known as the agricultural belt because of the cheap housing. However, with low rents is a high unemployment rate and regular citizens struggle to find work, let alone refugees who can't speak English and won't learn how. Fresno has no federally funded agency to help them find work, learn basics like bus routes and understand United States culture and rules, like with the practice of animal slaughter, New York Times reported. Syrian children turned up unexpectedly at Awani Middle School, needing vaccinations, trauma counseling, English language instruction and academic support as a result of interrupted schooling. It was a shock at first, said Jose Guzman, the principal. We never had to teach students who speak Arabic. With disgusting customs like publicly slaughtering a goat and sharing the meat with their neighbors, ignorant to how this could spread illness and disease, they are doubling down on that danger by their lack of vaccinations. This means that they could be carrying other diseases that weren't present here before they came, but is just another nasty thing they brought with them into America that we didn't need. It's time for those who refuse to see the clear and present dangers of allowing an overwhelming amount of refugees into the U.S. to open their eyes to these disgusting things they bring with them. Or, if they are so welcoming of the idea, They can prove it by going to a Muslim refugee house party and taking it all in. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.